Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Public and Protective Services Committee for September 12th. The voting members on this committee are Councillors O'Connor, Councillor Berg, Mayor Clayton, and myself. I will call us to order. We don't have any delegations, so I'll start with Chief Lemieux for his service area update.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So just a couple updates on capital projects. The first one is Fletcher House, which is nearing the end of renovations, and the expected date to occupancy is slated for October the 1st. And with regards to the coordinated care campus, the temporary modulars have been demobilized and moved off the property. We currently have 25 residents that are in the coordinated care campus, with 5 more residents slated to move in within the next couple of weeks, bringing the occupancy to 30. And it is expected that by December, the programming will be around 55 residents, with 60 in January. So we'll be nearing full capacity in January. Community social development update. Our staff there participated in the Northwest Polytechnic Orientation Day and have registered 90 international students for the Explore GP Welcome Package. And also CSD has kicked off the Youth Advisory Council term recruitment for 2023-2024. Also, that department has city-developed training modules on unconscious bias and racism and discrimination, and those are now available to the community, with 8 facilitated in-person sessions scheduled to start in September. From the Housing and Homeless Initiatives Department, the Housing Accelerator Fund application will be submitted on September 28th, and the application indicates the city could qualify for up to $10.5 million in grant funding for various initiatives. From Enforcement Services, the department has been encouraging safe road behaviors and continues to make that a priority. Excessive dangerous speeds pose a risk to citizens of Grande Prairie for motorists and pedestrian, and top speeds recorded recently were up to 118 kilometers in a 60-kilometer zone. So we do have some, we are paying attention to those speeding vehicles. Back to school initiatives. It's the start of the new school year, and enforcement has prioritized school zone education and enforcement to help facilitate safe return for students. And Enforcement Services has also participated in the Back to School Safety event coordinated by the GP and Area Safe Communities Safety City. On the emergency management and GPREP side of things, as you know, we're still hosting a number of evacuees from the Northwest Territories, but I'm also pleased to report that our own GPREP program manager, Jennifer Wood, has been awarded the Emergency Management Exemplary Service Award. This is a national award that recognizes significant contributions in emergency management. And as you know, Jennifer has been the program manager for GPREP since its inception in 2009. So we're very proud of her work and the fact that she's received that recognition. From the fire department, on September 7th, the department celebrated the retirement of Captain Ryan Ulrich, and Ryan has served the fire department for over 20 years. And also, Grande Prairie Fire Department hosted a memorial for fallen firefighters on Sunday, September the 10th. And at the same time as that was happening in Grande Prairie, there was a celebration in Ottawa where Mr. Bill Walker's name was unveiled at the National Memorial in Ottawa. Mr. Walker was initially a firefighter, then a fire chief and protective services director at the city of Grande Prairie. From the RCMP, their community engagement and diversity unit was busy participating in various patrols alongside mobile outreach. They did some bike safety presentations and had a safety talk with the Eritrean Association, and they've also done some crime prevention through environmental design with a number of facilities in Grande Prairie. They've also, the RCMP has provided an update on some policing stats, which I will circulate through an email, but I just want to quickly tell you that between January and August 2023, compared to the previous year, total person crimes were increased by 10%, total property crimes decreased by 8%, offensive weapon occurrences decreased by 15%, and cause disturbance decreased by 21%. So I'll circulate those in an email for council. And with regards to our community knowledge campus, there's free public skates and skating lessons that were offered at the Design Works Center on September the 10th and again on September the 17th as part of the Welcoming welcoming week celebration for newcomers and immigrants to our community. The aquatics shutdown is underway, and we're pleased to report that we have some partnering facilities that are allowing access to our Eastlink members that have the Grand Access Pass, so that's been working very well. And sports development, wellness and culture. In sport tourism, the city has been awarded the bid for the U15, U17, and U19 National Wrestling Championships in 2026. So we're really pleased to receive that news, and we're looking forward to hosting that event. And the Alberta Winter Games will be launching general volunteer recruitment on September the 23rd. And Neighborhood Day is being held on Saturday, September the 16th, and neighborhoods are being encouraged to host events such as barbecues and gatherings to get to know their neighbors. So we're really pleased that our neighborhood associations are taking part in that event. That's my report, Mr. Chair, and I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Mr. Liu, and Councillor Berg.
Sure, I'll ask one question. Chief Lemieux, for the neighborhood associations, is there any funding through the city, or how do they fund their barbecue?
So yes, there is funding from the city.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. I'm not seeing any others, so I'll turn it back over to you, Chief Lemieux, to introduce the next report.
And Mr. Chair, if I may, I forgot to read one message. With regards to the evacuees that have been with us for some time, I just wanted to point out we received a message yesterday, and I'd just like to read it for committee. It says, "Good morning, Grande Prairie. Thank you from the bottom of our hearts for adopting us, evacuees, during the time of crisis. Your city welcomed us with pride, with wide open arms, and we will never forget your generosity and hospitality." And on a side note, they were asking a question. How do you keep your grass perfectly manicured all over the city? So real compliment to our parks department. But anyway, these are messages that we have been receiving regularly since we received our first evacuees in mid-August. So we're really pleased that we're able to provide the services and look after people as well as our GPREP members have done.
Well, thank you so much to your team. Thank you so much to all the many volunteers that are in our community that made that happen. And thank you for keeping them off 84th Avenue, I guess. Mayor Clayton.
Thanks, Chair Bressie. Chief Lemieux, I wonder in other messages if we're keeping track of those. I think they'd be great pieces in some of our engagement in social media and marketing, branding for the community to show what good hosts we are. And so I'm hoping that somebody's keeping a collection of those messages.
Yeah, we certainly are.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So thank you, Mr. Chair. And so to introduce the next report, I'm going to ask Sarah Patterson, our Community Recreation Manager, to present her report on grant funding.
Thank you, Chief Lemieux. The Community Advisory Committee met on August 30th, 2023 to review the following grant applications and to make the following recommendations. Under Arts Development, we received 2 applications for festival funding. Both applications meet the approved grant criteria. Some recommendations are for less than the recommended amount based on the funding criteria that grant funding cannot account for more than 50% of the event budget. We also received 1 application for the Arts and Culture Operational Funding Grant. The application meets the approved criteria and was accepted as a late submission. Next, we have the Pursuit of Excellence funding. We had 1 application received for Coach Development funding. 7 applications were received for Officials funding. 4 applications were received for clinical hosting. 10 applications were received for athlete travel funding, and 2 applications were received for athlete development funding. For the sport hosting grant, we received 3 applications that all met the grant criteria. And in summary, administration recommends the following funding. Arts Development Festival funding in the amounts listed in Appendix A for a total of $11,272. Arts Development Operational funding for a total of $5,000. The Pursuit of Excellence funding for a total of $18,000.11. And sport hosting funding for a total of $8,000. Thank you.
Thank you for the report, Ms. Patterson. I think it's your first report to us, so welcome here.
It is. Thank you, Chair Bressie.
Councillor O'Connor.
I will do business whenever you're ready. If there's questions, then.
Yeah, I think we can go ahead with business. Thank you. And I think it would be appropriate just to move that we recommend council approve funding as presented in Appendix
Yeah. I'd like to move that council recommend council approve funding allocations to as presented in Appendix A.
Thank you, Councillor O'Connor. I'll look around and see if anybody wants to split any of these out. Not seeing anybody request that, so any conversation or debate? Not seeing that, so I'll call to question.
Mayor Clayton in favor.
And that motion carries. Thank you for the report. We don't have any correspondence. We don't have any other business or bylaw and policy review, so that brings us to the outstanding items list. Chief Lemieux.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So I'm going to recommend that we move a couple items to the first quarter of 2024, and that is item 1199, Canadian Mental Health Association property transfer request. And the second one I'd like to move to the first quarter of 2024 is item 1264. We just need a little more time for those two items. And Mr. Chair, since this is our last meeting of the third quarter and we've canceled the meeting for September 26th, I would ask that those items that are listed as Q3 2023 be changed to Q4.
Just a question I've got is, you listed two items that have to do with external groups. I'd assume that those groups are aware that you're going to recommend bumping them and are okay with that. Is that a correct assumption?
Yes, we've been working with those groups, and there's just been some delays, not necessarily on our side, but sometimes on their side. So that's why I'm asking that we push those.
Great. Anybody willing to make a motion? Councillor Berg.
Thanks, Chair Bressie. I would like committee to receive the September 12th, 2023 outstanding items list as amended by Chief Lemieux for information.
Definitely in order. Any conversation or debate? Not seeing any. I'll call to question. Bressie in favor? And that motion carries. And with that, I will call this meeting adjourned. Thank you.